Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, how is your cardiovascular health? I'm going to find out about mine on live TV next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
So when we all go to our family doctor, they tell us the same thing: eat right, exercise, take good care of yourself. But they're not going the extra mile. They're not doing any kind of artery scan. So many people are walking out there and they're a ticking time bomb. To talk about that today, Singh, he is the owner of Advanced Arterial Imaging. Thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
All right, what do we have right here?
This is a portable ultrasound system, and specifically the probe that we've got hooked up to it is a vascular probe. So we're looking at the vessels of your body. The carotid artery specifically is what we're looking at today.
Okay, and a little later in the show, we're going to do my my scan on my what would this be called?
It's the carotid artery. So it comes straight from the heart, travels up left and right side of your neck, and feeds the brain, face, blood, oxygen, nutrients.
Okay, but before we do that, let's talk about your journey. How did you start in this?
You know, this takes me back about 20 years. And I initially got started in the technology realm, as well as kind of blending that with the medical side of my path, I guess, or journey. And ultrasound was one of those specific technologies that incorporated both. I love working with people, enjoy sort of part of the teaching part of it as well, but I enjoy learning from patients and scanning their arteries and really kind of the health of their arteries and seeing what's going on. So it's been 20 years. Initially I spent about 10 years, 11 years traveling the country with a group out of Utah, and we'd go in on a daily basis and see 20, 30, 40 patients a day scanning their arteries. And I did that for some time, but the travel bit, it definitely does take a toll on you. And so for the last 7, 8 years, I've been on my own, and I've kind of changed my focus over to the concierge practice model. And a lot of the local concierge medicine practitioners are the folks that I work with, and sure. I'm staying local.
And you told me a story right before we went on about a scan you did fairly early on in which the person was almost fully blocked. Is that right?
You know, yes. When I first started, one of the first patients I did ever scan was down in South Texas in the Padre and Harlingen area. The gentleman came in, and he initially was already complaining that his full right side was feeling numb. So we got him prepped up, and as soon as I put the probe on his right carotid artery, he was almost 98% blocked up on the right, and the same looked to be about the same on his left. So both sides were 98% blocked up, and that's probably why he was having certainly those symptoms that were causing some of those limbs to be numb. And normally at the end of a procedure like that, you let the physicians know, and they can send that patient off for further testing recommendations.
So in that case, that guy might not have gone home. He might have gone straight to the hospital.
It's a possibility, and there's unfortunately so many folks that are in those positions where they're just ticking time bombs. They have no idea whatsoever that there may be some narrowing or blockages in their arteries.
You could have saved his life.
I hope we did save a life, and that's really the business and passion that I'm into is helping save lives.
Well, before we do my scan, I want to put up on the screen a full screen graphic so you can describe, what are we looking at here?
So the three pieces of the images are the endothelial function, which is the innermost layer. It's the cellular at the cellular level, is protecting that lining of the arteries. The intima and media are the pink and the dark layer that you see on that first image. The second image is fatty streaks. That's the actual attraction of all this fatty, sticky material. Cholesterol, fatty particles, enzymes, they start to build up, and they thicken those walls, and it gets to a point where it turns into plaque. So that plaque is all this fatty gunk that's built up over time. It's a progressive disease, so it's been building over decades in the making. It's not.
And people don't necessarily know that they've got blockages. I've heard of stories about people running marathons and then they collapse of a heart attack.
Absolutely. As long as blood is flowing through that opening, it could be 20, 30, 40% opening. As long as that blood is getting through, the oxygen is getting through, it's the flow is certainly there, but it's just a matter of time before that plaque can break loose.
Sure.
So that plaque that's been forming can certainly have a risk of rupturing and eventually causing that stroke in the carotids here, or the coronaries. Similar happens when there's a heart attack.
All right, it is the moment we've all been waiting for.
Let's do this.
And my daughter, Sarah, who's also my vice president, is going to step into the camera because she's going to act as an extra camera. So I want to just protect my collar here, right?
That's correct, Jeff.
And then tell us what you're doing. Give us kind of a play-by-play.
So I'm going to grab this vascular probe, and there's some ultrasound gel. It's water-based. We're going to drop some of that gel on that probe, and I am going to swing over to your left.
Sure.
And I'll do some scanning. We're going to scan the right side. I'll have you turn your face slightly to the left there. Jeff, here we go. And let's take a quick image of your artery there. You see the circle in the center here is the artery. And if I just twist that probe, you can see it widen up in the longitudinal space there. You can see it pumping away.
Does it look good?
It's good so far. No bumps and bruises. Do not see anything that's showing any kind of accumulation inside those vessels. And so this gives us also a direct sort of one-on-one as far as, you know, whatever is happening here is going on in the coronaries and throughout the rest of your body. So it gives us a window to the heart, so to speak, without having to go invasively into your coronaries.
Awesome. So I can go back to eating donuts?
You know, you may want to consult with your practicing physician there for sure. But no, it looks good.
That's awesome.
Looks like you got some good, healthy arteries here.
All right. We'll have you go back to your seat, and thank you, Sarah, for helping out with that visual.
So do we want to?
This has got to give you a lot of joy to do this.
You know, I'm passionate about this. You know, it was a beginning for me with a personal story of, you know, my mother who had heart surgery 20 years ago, and you know, that's what really kind of got me shifted over to the medical field and wanting to help prevent the strokes and heart attacks from ever occurring, really. I mean, we can prevent heart attacks and strokes. It's just, I think it's already too late when a patient does arrive at a doctor's office and their blood pressure may be high or elevated, or their cholesterol may be elevated as well. So it's already in the making once it's at that point. So we're trying to find it decades in the making and help live healthier lives for those patients.
And one of the reasons you're here is that my daughter was at our personal concierge physician, Dr. James Pinkney, shout out, and she had you do a scan on her just a couple hours ago.
Yes, sir. So that little circle in the center is your artery. So imagine looking down the sink, And if I just turn that artery sideways, there's your artery pumping away. And I'm going to put some blood flow on there, and that'll give you an idea.
One of the messages I want to send out is that you don't have to be over 50 to have this problem. I think even young people have blockages.
That's correct, Jeff. I have seen patients even under the age of 20. I've had a few that were diagnosed with high blood pressure at the age of 13. So this was a granddaughter of one of the senior management employees at the company I was with prior to. So, and she was fine, the daughter was fine, granddaughter. But, you know, at any age, really, you know, certainly it's all about prevention. A lot of the folks, the patients that are in the concierge model, they're in it to prevent disease, and so are the practitioners, of course, and the medical doctors. So they want to pick up the earliest stages or signs. If there's some buildup, some thickening plaque here, and we can see it decades in the making, and we can monitor it over time and make sure there's no progression of that buildup going on. And if there's regression, if we're seeing that their therapy, whether it's diet, exercise, medication, lifestyle changes, if those therapies are helping out, then we can see that reversal also going on.
And it can absolutely be reversed. I mean, if somebody's like almost fully blocked, changing to a more Mediterranean diet or a more heart-healthy diet can reverse it?
Absolutely, and we can see the reversal in the sense of that lining of the artery. So that inflamed artery over time, if it's inflamed, there's maybe some diet or exercise or lack of exercise, some blood pressure issues. There may be some, you know, certainly some modifications in lifestyle that need to be made, and we can come back to the same exact location after the baseline has been set up, and be able to come back and reproduce those same images and see what it's a before and after effect. We can see what changes have occurred based on those therapies.
Outstanding. You've been an amazing guest. Give us your website. How do people get in touch?
Thank you, Jeff. It's www.advancedarterialimaging.com.
Awesome. Jay, you've been an amazing guest. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Jeff.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.